The first transition to understanding moving from familiar to unfamiliar was going to college. That transition between those times made me meet the closest friends I have now, made me understand who I really am right now. I got into art during college, my college years, when I feel like I was sleepwalking. Sleepwalking is moving on other people's knowledge instead of your own mindset and your own faith. It's like you're going through life not thinking on your own. You know, your family, your parents telling you to, you should go to college. You should get you a job. That's the best way you can survive in this life. The best way you can make a better life for yourself is to do these things. Get you a college degree, get you a corporate job. They never tell you what happens after that, but just a form of telling you what you need to do. And that's what I call that sleepwalking. I feel like as any other young person that go to college, I didn't know what to do. So, what I tend to look at all day is a form of art, fashion, music, entertainment. And the only thing that appealed to me most was streetwear. At the time, the Hundreds was real big, Stussy was real big, still big to this day. And I want to do something similar to that, but the Hundreds appealed to me more because they had a character that they circle themselves around. And to me, it's real relatable. And when you see it on the streets, you can see it. What I wanted to do was to be a graphic designer or graphic communications. And took a couple of art classes, painting classes. So I'm putting my artworks up on the wall for the critique. And the teacher gravitated towards mine first, which was crazy. He asked whose artworks was it. I didn't want to raise my hand at the time. He asked the class 3 or 4 times, so I raised my hand. He's like, and I told him I did the art. I felt uncomfortable because I know I bullshitted the assignment. I knew that I feel like I ain't put my all into it. I feel like I was wasting time. He stared at the paintings for like a couple of minutes. He just stared. Like, damn, this is super good, man. This is real good. And then not only did he say it was good, people in the class said it was good too. Coming from Fort Worth, Texas, that, art, especially from the Afro-American community, is not big. A lot of people don't even know where to even find art. Museums is not something that people will go to every day. And even my intermediate family to my extended family, there's no one even doing any art form or even an entrepreneur form either. So, I had nothing to base off of. It took those 2 classes that made me realize I can create art. Fortunately, since I bullshitted my first 2 years, you have to have a 3.0 to get into the graphic design school, and I ain't have a 3.0. So that didn't stray away from me from keep creating art, because just the experience of going through these classes, I found that I have a talent, and I just pursued it. I've been paying for going on 4 years now. I kept doing art because I seen it like soothing, like it was a form of meditation. A form to express myself, a form to make money, besides to make money, but something I believe in to make money. I can do art covers, I can do logos, I can do posters, I can do flyers, and that right there taught me that I can make money on the side. If it wasn't for understanding the graphics, understand Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, I would never be able to understand I was an entrepreneur as itself. And then now I'm making art that makes sense to me, then I'm able to explain it to anybody else because they can relate to it. For instance, political issues going in the world, and this artist knows how to create the narrative to make it seem like, I am the artist that's been through this issue and people can relate to it. Art has mistakes, it has negatives, it has positives, it has flaws, and those flaws what makes the art a masterpiece that only that artist can create, because that's his story. The number one fear to me is the unfamiliar, the unknown. And the best way to you to become a better person is to move to the unfamiliar, you know? So this collection, 817, based from the Fort Worth city I'm from, I feel like the biggest fear in our city right now is the unknown, the unfamiliar. We tend to shy away from new beginnings. We don't like new things. We don't like change. We don't like things moving differently. Then this might not be just for my city myself. This is probably a bigger spectrum across the globe. But I know for a fact, as a Fort Worth resident, I know for a fact that the biggest fear in our city right now is the unfamiliar. The whole operation of what Collection 817 is about is moving the float from unfamiliar to familiar. The most familiar cartoon character in the world is Walt Disney's Mickey Mouse. So in order to incorporate interaction between these two characters would eventually make the float familiar, not only visually, but as well as a character who can move emotion. Walt Disney created this word meaning that a cartoon has the ability to create emotion. This cartoon resembles a human being. So the float is a living thing. The float has the ability to show emotion through a picture. Emotion of sadness. It can show the emotion of fear. It can show the emotion of it's having a good time. Unconsciously, the float came from things surrounding my parents' home. My mom always put boat fixtures inside the bathroom. I always put different pirate-like or sea-like decorations inside the bathroom. So unconsciously, when I started drawing, first thing came out was a float. The float is for love of all things. I want the float not only to be looked at as a character, a cartoon character, because my art mediums are mixed in with pop art. It's mixed in with expression look. It's mixed in with contemporary. So the style's kind of all in between. The best way to show what a float is red and white. And it goes back to courage and safety. The colors red and white shows help. In the World War II, they wore red and white crosses. They wore the red cross on their helmets to let people know that they were the medics. So it shows, a sense of security. And I feel like the float was going to shine the light on Fort Worth. So my float will be not only a cartoon, it would be a streetwear figure. The float is a lifestyle. As everybody's safety harness, as majority fall through is into the corporate America. And corporate America is probably one of the worst things you can depend on because it's not everybody's safety harness. Anything can happen. You can lose your job in a snap or something small. But I know that my art is a form of a safety harness. It took me to get fired from a job to understand that. One of the majors I declared was supply chain management, because I still want to do something towards the arts, but it's something that related to me, something I felt like was good. Because I ended up moving back from Houston, Texas to Fort Worth, Texas, and going back to this lost zone. I was working at a company dealing with supply chain management, and they was closest to what I really wanted to do. So their company was creating designer frames at the time, making lenses and different designer brands at the time. And they fired me after they gave me a promotion, then they fired me 2 weeks later. I felt like it was for me to really sit and create art as much time I can. Michael Gladwell says you have to put in 10,000 hours to become a master in anything. Instead of putting these 8 hours into this corporate job, I was putting 10 hours into what I really wanted to do. All that did was create this fire in me that this is what I wanted to do. And not only was a fire in me creating art for 10 hours. It was the side shows I was getting from small shows, from the trap arts to the local art shows when they just ask for artists to submit artwork, and whoever was the curator at the time, they choose your artwork if it fits into the show and they put it in there. So it took, once the time I was getting fired from my job, I had an art show in 3 different cities. You know, I won't make too much money from it, but all it did was reaffirm me that I'm moving in the right direction. You know, I feel like I was working towards something. And if it wasn't for my transition from Fort Worth to Houston, Texas, to meet other individuals, I would have had the opportunity to move to LA to better myself. Collection 817 is the understanding of all forms of what's going on in my life. From moving from the familiar to the unfamiliar, I acquired new talents, new aspirations, you know. And that's what journey that I'm going through right now. But now I'm picturing this journey through this art. Collection 817 will bring all of us together.